go right ahead. Thank you.
Thank you. My name is Felicia Dantzler. I am the president of ASME Local 2743. I represent approximately over 200 members from the um, Alcoholic Beverage and Cannabis Administration, the Department of Insurance, Securities and Banking, the Department of Buildings, as well as the Department of Licensing and Consumer Protection. I'm writing to bring to your attention the alarming experiences my members are facing in a work environment that is increasingly hostile toward union representation. Many of our members have reported experiencing retaliation for exercising their union rights, and it is disheartening to see that management has often colluded with each other to support such unlawful behavior. While it appears on the surface that agency heads may care about these matters, the reality is that they frequently choose to turn a blind eye or avoid involvement altogether. This negligence can no longer be tolerated. It is imperative that we establish swift accountability mechanisms within our organizations. Agency heads must make a clear and decisive stand against retaliation, openly stating that such actions will not be tolerated, and those managers who retaliate will face serious repercussions. The mayor has publicly positioned this administration as labor friendly. However, the current practice suggests otherwise. There exists a persuasive mindset about management that fosters hostility toward union involvement, which must change. Our members have every right to communicate with the union to seek improvements in their workplace without fear of being targeted or retaliated against. Unfortunately, there are supervisors who take this outreach personally, leading to punitive actions against hardworking employees simply striving to secure what they rightfully deserve, not only for themselves, but also for their families. We seek your commitment to foster a culture of respect for labor's rights within our organizations. What concrete actions can your office take to initiate this change? We believe that leading by example and promoting a workplace environment where every employee feels safe to seek union support is crucial for our shared success. And I want to say that the rest of this is not in my written statement, but I share the sentiments of my colleagues as they speak about the workplace compensation disparities when it comes to quality step increases. I heard you say earlier, as my colleagues spoke on management rights, because there is a law doesn't mean that it makes it good law. There's a reason why Fair Housing Act had come about, the Civil Acts Right came about, as well as the 15th Amendment. Those laws had to be enacted because there were social injustices that were being placed upon people of color, women, and all minorities. You also stated that you are committed to trying to create a new day. And there's an exercise that I put before many folks who have made statements like that they're trying to do something. I give this exercise to you. Try and pick up your cell phone. Either you're going to do it or you're not. If this is a labor-friendly city, organization, government, as the mayor is saying, then we need to have frank conversations, and we need to see movement from panels, from tribunals who have the right to say yes. I don't think it's fair that management comes before the city council. They talk about their matrix that they are actually reaching. But when it comes down to quality step increases based off of my members' performance, We have managers who are lowballing our members' overall score to purposefully prevent them from getting a quality step increase, taking monies out of their pockets to better their situation for their families. So me as president of Local 2743, I'm very much comfortable in talking about all the isms, the racism, the sexism, the favoritism, the cronyism that fully exist in all of these agencies. I thank you for your time. If you have any additional questions or concerns, I'm here for you. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very, very much for your testimony. And now, Mr. Slade, you're here. Yes, okay. All right.
Yes, I'm
We'll
like a
take your
bad penny.
testimony.
I'm like a bad penny. I always turn up.
All right, excellent.
Good afternoon, Council Chair Anita Bonds, as well as any attending council members. My name is Arthur Slade, Vice President and Shop Steward of ASME Local 2743. The Comprehensive Merit and Personnel Act of 1978, CMPA, was enacted as one of the founding tenets of the District of Columbia by establishing that collective bargaining was in the best interest of its workforce. In addition, DC Code subsection 161701 states the following. A, the District of Columbia government finds and declares that an effective collective bargaining process is in the general public interest and will improve the morale of public employees and the quality of service to the public. With that being said, it appears that there's a disconnect between labor and management when it comes to recognizing rights afforded to union employees within the CMPA, specifically the fundamental right outlined within subsection 161704, unfair labor practices for protected activities defined within the subchapter of the code. For example, in August of 2024, the Department of Buildings Deputy Director Caroline Leanne resigned from her position as a result of the non-disclosure of working multiple full-time jobs over approximately a 2-year period. While disconcerting on its face for the obvious egregious misconduct of this former DOB official, the former Deputy Director was also directly involved in personnel actions immediately impacting union members housed at DOB, which begs the question, how can an individual knowingly misrepresent themselves as a full-time management employee with the District of Columbia be involved in personnel actions resulting in the termination of employees? In addition, while labor organizations negotiate through their collective bargaining agreements, certain CBAs afford compensation which may fall outside of the compensation portion of the contract. This may include performing additional duties not outlined within their position description, which are captured by management in some instances as other duties as assigned, thus negating compensation afforded to union members under the working conditions portion of the contract. The last several years have impacted the economic climate of not only the District of Columbia, but also the global economy. Fortunately, the district economy was stabilized with approximately $1.8 billion appropriated through the American Rescue Plan Act. The union workers of the district should be rewarded with compensation reflective of their additional duties initiated by management, not in some cases antiquated position descriptions that may have not been updated and or reclassified encompassing all of the functions of that employee. In 1968, 1,300 Black sanitation workers went on strike due to the deaths of their two of their co-workers due to the malfunctioning of a garbage truck, which led to their enrollment in ASME in Memphis, Tennessee. Unfortunately, this act of unity came at the expense of the life of Dr. Martin Luther King, who was assassinated while supporting these Black sanitation workers for better working conditions. I would ask you, Councilmember Bonds, and your colleagues on the DC Council, support the union's efforts for a collaborative culture with management on both compensation and working conditions. Thank you, Councilmember, for your leadership in spearheading these public roundtable discussions concerning the state of labor within the District of Columbia. In closing, I would just like to mention, you mentioned earlier to the Washington Teachers Union about community schooling. I'm a product of community schoolings. I'm a DCPS graduate and a 25-year plus resident in Ward 5 and taxpayer. And I fully support some type of some type of dialogue to ensure that are we giving these children what they need to be successful in the future? I'm not going to be here and you're not going to be here either. So we need to make sure our community is supported by the council so that people like ourselves can continue the legacy. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much for your testimony. Mr. Enoch? Good afternoon. How are you? Representing Council 20, asked me. I'm
Yes,
very
ma'am.
familiar with that.
Thank you. Good afternoon, and thanks again for creating this forum. As a DC resident, not just as a labor leader, we appreciate you taking the time to hear us out because it is important for the district residents to have a good workforce. Again, my name is Wayne Enoch, and I am the Executive Director of AFSCME Council 20. Prior to serving in this capacity, I was an employee of the District of Columbia at Child and Family Services for 30 years. I've also been a dedicated servant in various labor leadership roles since 2005. AFSCME Council 20 is the exclusive representative of more than 18,000 collective bargaining unit employees throughout DC and Virginia, to include but not limited to both the federal and private sector. We also provide a vast number of government services to the citizens of the District of Columbia. Amongst the multitude of work we perform, the citizens in the District of Columbia rely on our collective bargaining unit members to protect their children, assist with their education, protecting their lives and environments through collecting trash, protecting the communities by providing services at public libraries while ensuring children can safely get to school, and meals for youth in detention are being provided. Because of the work we perform, it is imperative that the district employ competent individuals who work in a safe environment and receive fair compensation. It is also important that they are able to live and retire in a respectable manner, reflecting their service to this city. Council 20 is on a mission to help the district accomplish these goals by negotiating contracts and advocating for legislation that supports our members and the public. We also thrive to work with district managers and labor management partnerships and leaders in discussions such as this roundtable, but when necessary, we fight for the enforcement of what has been negotiated. I was glad to be informed about this very important and necessary discussion. It is important that district leaders know about the workplace environment, but it is also important that the public is informed as well. The public must know about issues such as staff morale, turnover, and low-paying jobs, because these matters impact the services they receive. They need to know that unions are in a position to help by advocating for our members. Going forward, Council 20 is hopeful that this committee and the council will be able to help us move into 2025 with goals to negotiate contracts that have expired or will expire in the coming year, and to further organize the district's workforce. Currently, we are waiting to negotiate a contract for paraprofessional and clerical staff at DCPS through Local 2921, bus drivers and bus attendants at OSSI through Local 1959, and multiple agencies that fall under the umbrella of Compensation Units 1 and 2. The contracts with DCPS and OSSI have expired, and Comp 1 and 2 expires at the end of this fiscal year. Requests to negotiate have been submitted for all three workforces. We implore you to help us get to the table for these contract negotiations. The employees under Local 2921 and 1959 continue to be some of the most underpaid individuals in the district's workforce. Although we are aware that there is a commitment to prioritize employees that work in the schools, these employees deserve attention and sincere efforts to get contracts completed sooner, not later. As you know, recruiting and retaining school bus drivers and aides is a struggle nationwide. To retain and recruit the best workforce, compensation and working conditions must improve. I am one of the co-chief negotiators for Comp Units 1 and 2, which consists of the largest and most diverse universal bargaining unit employees in the district. This unit requires the district to devote a considerable amount of time and funding to negotiating. Although wages are a major driving point, there are other benefits in the contract that should be in the minds of the council. These include Metro benefits and retirement. When the last contract was negotiated, some of our members had 2 days telework. However, after the pandemic, many of our members had their telework reduced to 1 day a week. As with anything, the cost of riding Metro has increased, but benefits remain $50 per month. Outside of the contract, there was legislation to provide a $100 monthly benefit to DC residents. Although this initiative has not taken place, it is an indicator of the increased cost of riding Metro. This legislation should be reconsidered and include DC government employees. The initiative would decrease the cost of implementing Comp Units 1 and 2's contract, making funds available for other much-needed benefits. Comp Units 1 and 2 also needs your attention to the district's retirement plan. The current plan does not allow employees to have a predictable retirement income that would allow them to comfortably retire in the district or even in the surrounding jurisdictions. Like how the district advocates capital improvement funds, it should do the same to fund a secure pension retirements for its employees. With the increase in the cost of living, buying and renting in DC, the funding of the employer assistant housing program is important as well. If the district is going to retain and attract the best employees, the benefits of being an employee must improve. Agencies need increased oversight on how they hire and promote employees. I regularly receive complaints about career ladder promotions, bonuses, and reclassifications. Employees feel that promotions are often provided based on favoritism. Recently, we won a case at arbitration because of an agency's failure to promote as the contract requires. We continue to resolve these issues without legislations at times. However, this is often a struggle. Sometimes the problem is budgetary. However, even with funding, we see promotions given based on factors outside of the criteria for career ladders. Another fight includes an agency's attempt to silence a union official who represented an employee during a performance improvement plan meeting. The agency would not allow the official to speak and advocate for the member. Ultimately, our member failed the PIP, leading to an adverse disciplinary action. PERB upheld the right to representation, but agencies need to receive increased scrutiny and training regarding the rights of employees. Nationwide, there are high approval ratings for unions in general, and AFSCME specifically. Council 20 is poised to increase our existing membership and create new bargaining units within DC government and other employers. We are attracting a lot of attention from unorganized areas and plan to get them organized in 2025. It is our goal to negotiate compensation and working conditions for more district employees. I intend to keep this committee or any planned new committee that is implemented about any struggles that we encounter. I look forward to your continued support in fostering a thriving labor relations environment in DC government. Thank you.